Hi there. Welcome back to Ask Amy. So before I get to today's question from Rhonda, I just want to tell you that the Little School of Big Change Fall 2022 course begins today. Enrollment is open through Thursday, this coming Thursday. So you have just a few days to join us. But when you join, we're already there. Students are already watching their initial videos and they're sharing and getting support on our forum. And it's very exciting. So today is our first day of school. Our live calls start next week and go for 6 weeks. And it's just an incredible opportunity to see what I'm speaking to in these Ask Amy videos in a much, much deeper way. Really, like if you get value from hearing how I speak to a question here or there, imagine really being walked through. We hold your hand and walk you through the ins and outs of why I say the things I say, how we work, how our experience works. Like you would come away from that course feeling like you could speak to these questions because it's very simple. We just aren't taught this until we are. So we really look at what is true of all humans and how all experience works. And people are there along the way finding freedom from habits and anxiety and just things that feel like they've been plaguing them for life. So it's an incredible experience, and I would love for you to join us. And if you have questions about the Little School of Big Change, or you're unsure, or you want to talk to me about it, there is going to be a Q&A session here on Facebook as a Facebook Live this coming Wednesday, September 14th at 3 o'clock Eastern Time, 12 Pacific. So just come to my Facebook page here, and it'll be just like this. It'll be a Facebook Live. You can type your questions in, and I will answer anything you got. Okay, so today's question is from Rhonda. And she says that her son is starting at a brand new high school and he's dreading it. And he's experienced a lot of anxiety and a lot of dread leading up to this new school. And she says that the reason he's hating and dreading it is that he hates change. And she's curious what wisdom could be passed on to him. I'm paraphrasing because she messaged me the question, so I'm not reading it this time. But it was very simple, and that was essentially it. How can I help him? Like, what can I tell him that might make this easier for him? He's dreading this new school, and he hates change. And I thought it was such a great thing to speak to here because it's really interesting. I mean, what does it mean for any of us when we hate change, when we say we hate change? So put yourself in this kid's situation, and it's probably not hard to do because we've all been in this situation. He has this summer and he knows new school's coming, and he doesn't like change. He wants to go back to what he knows. That felt comfortable. That felt safe. The thought, and that's the key word there, the thought of this new school is bringing all this dread. And he says, no, the problem here is I'm going to a new school and I don't like change. I want to go back to my old school and everything will be fine. And when we really look at this, think about it. I mean, what happens when there's no change? And there's always change, right? But when you assume, when it's just not on your mind, you just wake up and you think, okay, I'm going back to something I know, whether it's the old school, a current job, a current relationship, whatever it is in our lives, right? We wake up and our mind instantly takes everything for granted. And that's a helpful thing. Now, it hurts us in a lot of ways, but it's efficient and it's adaptive, and it kind of has to happen. So you wake up in the morning, your brain comes online and says, oh, here's who you are. This is who you are. This is the kind of person you are. No, it doesn't say all this consciously, but essentially it's saying this is who you are. This is what your life looks like. It's Monday. You're going to go to work. You're going to do your Ask Amy or do whatever you do at 1 o'clock every Monday. This is how it's going to go. You're in this relationship. These people like you. These people don't. Whatever, right? You like this breakfast. You don't like that breakfast. All of this shows up for us. And it's awesome because it saves a lot of resources. We just get to show up. We're run a little bit like a robot, a little autopilot. We go through life, but we're moving toward what our mind has remembered and tells us that we like. We're moving away from what our mind says we don't like. And when the day or the school or the job or the life feels familiar, there's just not a lot on our mind. Our mind is just kind of freed up to just be here and to see new things maybe and to discover new things. It's so much is just taken as truth, taken for granted. Now, we don't really know, obviously, what's going to happen. So every once in a while, there's a huge shock or a bunch of little shocks. And we all saw this a couple years ago when we thought we knew what our life was going to look like for the next few months, and everything came to a screeching halt. And we realized, oh, wow, I was wrong. I wasn't going on that vacation, that spring break, and I wasn't doing that and sending my kids to school for the rest of that school year. We got to see it there. We got this uphand experience of like just how much our mind fills in blanks. And most of the time things go, according to those give or take. So when we say we hate change, like in a sense, what happens when we think there's not going to be change? And again, that's really huge to see because we don't know. We don't ever know. What's happening when we think we know that things aren't going to change is our mind just stays kind of quiet. And that is the feeling we like. It has nothing to do with change. It honestly has nothing to do with change. It has nothing to do with what school you go to, or again, your job, or what's different in your life, or what's the same in your life. It has nothing to do with external circumstances whatsoever. Nothing. It is simply that your mind is saying, or it's not saying a whole lot. That's the beauty. It's like, I know what's coming. And it's just, you get this spaciousness in your mind. You get the spaciousness and the peace to just hang out and deal with what arises, deal with what comes up, and you take all the background for granted. That feels good because it feels good to have not so much on our mind, or to have stuff on our mind and just not be all that concerned with it, not be all that identified with it. That is the feeling that everyone wants. And I really mean that. like when we're going for different things, what we really want is that feeling. What we really want is the feeling always, without exception. What we really want is the feeling of not a lot on our mind. Now, for Rhonda's son, his mind has started talking. Okay, it's going to be different. It's going to be different. You're not going to the same school. How is it going to be? I don't know. It could be different in this way. And then it will want to, because it thinks it's helping, paint all kinds of pictures, many of them not so great, about what could go wrong and how it might go and how uncomfortable it's going to be and all the new things that need to be learned. Now here, Rhonda's son is in June, July, August, beautiful, sunny, summer day, not a care in the world, but he has a lot of cares, only because his mind is talking about stuff that last summer it didn't talk about. And I know this is obvious to some degree, but honestly, really seeing this truly starts to make all the difference. It has nothing to do with change. It has nothing to do with the school that your son is going to, not even a little bit, because he was feeling all this dread and anxiety before there was school. It has nothing to do with that. And when he can start to see that, when he can start to see, wow, there's my mind again, painting pictures, telling stories. And for all of us, when we can start to see, wow, the only thing that creates dread, and it has this saying, we hate change, is that our mind is not so spacious anymore. It's filling the space with a bunch of made up scary stories. And those are fiction, truly. There's nothing here. You're in the middle of summer, right? So there's no fact to it. Those are fiction, but we're acting as if they're fact. This is the thing we don't like. Now imagine, again, I don't think I'm saying anything that we don't already know, but this is in the category of, oh yeah, I know that. And then we go on with our lives falling into our imaginary stories as if they're real and suffering. So it's not enough to know this in theory. It's not enough to, oh yeah, I know that already, but I'm suffering anyway. No, if you're suffering anyway, it's because you're not truly seeing this. You're in an imaginary story, feeling as if it's true, saying, I know it's an imaginary story, but why is it so painful? Well, you don't really, well, there's more to see there. We really want to see. This is honestly what's happening. What starts to happen for people as we see this more is we get to leave the external stuff out of it. And that's not anything we have to do. It just starts to look less and less relevant. So Rhonda's son will be worrying and feeling dread and thinking about school. But as he sees that this is his mind doing this, he starts to see, wow, this has nothing to do with school. Now going to a new school is just a neutral fact. It's not a problem. It's not a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's not an exciting thing. It's not a dreadful thing. It's just a circumstance that isn't even here yet. I mean, now it probably is. But when he was worried all summer, it's just what's going to happen in the fall. Big deal. It's nothing. And that's huge, huge. When we can start to see it's just my job. There is no good job, bad job, dreadful job, wonderful job. Same with relationships, same with anything you want to fill in the blank there. It's just what is. And my mind is giving it all of this meaning. And starting to look in this direction and see how our minds do this. I mean, the truly crazy imaginary realities that are created in our minds and believed and lived into and felt. It's huge. It doesn't mean our mind stops doing it, but we start to see what's going on there, and it just starts to feel different. So for sure, just out of habit, just as a habitual thing, probably a lot of people who started at a new school in the last couple weeks had some dread, or maybe had some nervousness or anxiety or excitement or whatever it might be, because a mind is going to do exactly what I'm saying. It will probably always do exactly what I'm saying. But to have that sense that I don't hate change. My mind just got busy. Where last summer when the school was familiar, I figured I knew everything anyway, and my mind didn't go there. That's the difference. Now that's something we can see that has nothing, again, to do with the circumstance, and that starts to show you like a hidden room. It's like you start to have a whole bigger dimension of life. Like life feels bigger when we're on to how our mind works. Because this is going to happen throughout Rhonda's son's life, throughout Rhonda's life, throughout my life, throughout your life, all the time. Anything you can imagine, a mind is going to have something to say about it. But when we can hold that very loosely and see that creative nature of mind, just totally changes everything. And how awesome to have this, especially for Rhonda's son as a young person, have a sense of this so that the next 10 million times it happens in his life, he's onto it, even just a little bit more each time. So Rhonda, what you can do for him is be onto it for him, be onto it with him. You know, when he comes home and says, I hate it, it's horrible, you know better. Now you can listen to him vent, and you can say, oh, you know, it sounds really hard, and you can be very compassionate and be there, because this experience is a very real experience. But you can also know and help him see it when appropriate, that it's day one or week 1 or week 3 or whatever. And life is always updating. Our mind is always wanting to put a stake in the ground and say, here's how I felt in this moment. That's probably how I'll feel for the next 4 years of high school. No, it's not. Never, ever, ever is it. But we don't see that in the moment. So that's how you can help him. You will see that for him, and you just keep him fluid. That's the thing. Like we just want to keep people, like one of my kids is going through a really tough time right now with friendship things and feeling kind of left out of some friend groups and not like they fit in the other friend groups. And it's like, you can't argue that. The feelings are very real. It's real stuff that kids go through. But to hold a space and a sense of fluidity, and things are always changing, and this is a season, and it does feel really hard some seasons, and other seasons feel totally different. Sometimes everything's clicking into place for you. All the lights are green. Sometimes it feels like every light is red, and every human on earth has all of those experiences at times, and it just doesn't mean anything. You know, it isn't a stable problem we need to solve, because it isn't really a problem without there at all. We're feeling these revolving stories, and they're always revolving, always changing. So you can kind of hold that looseness and that fluidity for him, Rhonda. So thanks so much for sharing your question. Hope it's helpful for others who are starting new things soon. And again, if you want to start a new thing, check out the Little Squill Big Change, because I'm so excited to get started with this new group. They're amazing already, and I would love for you to join us. So check out the Q&A if you have any questions on Wednesday, and I'll see you next week.